During the last 500 years, contact between white civilization and remote tribes has followed two roads, both with disastrous consequences for indigenous people. Today, when most tribes are reluctant about contact with outsiders, explorer Sebastian Chidoro travels around the world asking them what kind of future they want to build.
Our destination is Iqaluit, the capital of the Canadian province Nunavut and the most important Inuit settlement in Canada.
When Nunavut became a province of Canada, the population of Iqaluit has grown exponentially.
We went from hunting and gathering, when I was a little boy, hunting and gathering, living in igloos.
The government of Canada, together with the Catholic Church, decided to civilize the Inuit people. The first step was to destroy their nomadic style of life by killing their dogs and taking their children to residential Catholic schools. Once settled, the Inuit were much easier to control. Unfortunately, rounding up hunter-gatherers and forcing them to live in settlements has been tried in many countries, never with so much success.
Taking a pee up to Kino Yaman to Kishanaki, Kishutaun, the two major silver in the south of Paliaruta.
I arrived in Iqaluit and the first family I met was Joshua and Natsi Kango. They built me a traditional fursuit to be able to be warm in the expeditions we're going to do together. And Natsik and several ladies built me my parka, my caribou parka, my caribou pants, and the sealskin kamix or the boots. As soon as my suit was finished, Joshua and I went on the ice with a dog sled. He wanted to show me around how a dog sled is managed, is led, how he would harness the dogs and what they do in these surroundings to survive. Great and amazing people these people are, and how great survivors they are. In a very harsh place, in my opinion, the Inuit tribe are the toughest nation that I've ever seen in all my travels around the world.
There's been a lot of diseases since Iqaluit have become a city. A lot of new people moving, and many dogs now, different kinds of dogs. So every year Joshua and I kept losing dogs.
Yeah.
In recent years, outsiders have started to set up their own dog teams and use them for guided tours of the wilderness. These adventures can cost up to $3,000 per day, which means survival skills can be good business.
In many ways, Iqaluit has become a place where business stifles Inuit culture and survival. Today, no one uses dogs for transportation anymore. Instead, the sleds are pulled by skidoos, and the Inuit rely upon cars for urban transportation. With the arrival of jobs and money, there also came a clear tendency to switch from hunting and gathering in the wilderness to shopping at the supermarket. Here you can find anything, including goods the Inuit had never even heard about until recently. However, the prices are exorbitant, and there's no way most of them can pay nearly $50 for a crate of bottled water, or $12 for a slice of meat.
Agla imam ni isumana parang ito taman na nagigatigo imam akili yakakalaw sa man sibilang ito silik kunon hamara kunon akila swit tao katarat kunon nagigaraw hatigo oksoro kam kutisyote pitakalang ityato na pipitingin na udlome umajutit pa ilagid lagadutaga umanasunita.
Many Inuit still hunt and fish for their food, even here in Iqaluit. However, there's a price to pay, especially during springtime, when even the most experienced can meet their death by falling through the treacherous ice.
Kisene 1950 Hollywood namni kugama socio-cultural ubikaw Tekana de Shimar Tokarang, Sokoshi de Mate, Shimar, and Hawiman, Matete, Machin, around with the Matekane. Omayoxion, the Hakaman of Tapa, Neriaman, Tapato, never woman with protection, never bring me a potishimatinata.
They're also a good opportunity to teach the youngsters how to survive in this desolate, harsh environment. Hallie, Joshua's grandson, will see an igloo built today.
Omayoxion, what is the Hoya Matigila on Namata, make it to Kurumina Padong and Castle, the Hoya Manakatwina Lamata, New Channel like Piaparone, Inuit to Tawane, Amma, Kishutuina, in Kajurishan, Richard, neither women. A kitchen John Ricanilama to take an kitchen, Kanayang Nikun. Omayon to Hoyamakoya Tratima, Amma, I am not Sitita will lay at the action on Satakara to Tavan Hoyamayo.
This is the perfect moment to aim and shoot. Once the seal is shot, it will float for a short time. Joshua jumps into the boat and races to catch the seal. If he isn't fast enough, the seal sinks under the ice and is lost. Back at the tent, Joshua is cutting up the seals. Nothing is wasted. Everything is used from the fur to the intestines.
Go Makwana running into the Ulumi made of Padam Mata. Umayos, how is a Taushamatin, the Gunri it to see. Kishan Cooper Hankarama, how is a Tau Carne. Email of Padam Mata, Shuri Mana Tamana to ring it to Garo, Amata, some nachtin. To Hawaii Hatara Hona to see Umayurima Tiani, Imanai of Padam. She won't can in Taco Sang you are on their coming Mata. The
following day, Joshua and Natsik invite lots of people to their house. In the Arctic, food is difficult to procure, and it's a deeply held Inuit belief that survival is only possible when food is shared. Any hunter that has a good catch invites people for a meal. People here prefer meat that is raw and frozen. Whale skin is cut into small pieces and is even given to children. Reindeer stomach is eaten raw, with the half-digested grass still inside it. Since this environment is poor in vegetation, the Inuit had to come up with resourceful ways to get vitamins from their food in order to avoid diseases like scurvy. During the feast, Malaya, Natsik's daughter, and Alexia, her niece, are rehearsing some traditional throat-singing pieces. Passing on their songs is one way to keep their culture alive. In the evening, once the guests have left, Natsik cleans the fat and fur off the sealskins with an ulu knife. Many Inuit asked him for Bibles in their own language. He found out that a long time ago, the Canadian Bible Society printed Bibles in Inuktitut, the Inuit language, although they never made it out here to the community. Instead, they lay forgotten somewhere in a warehouse.
With the older generations, there's been a lot of apathy. Why? For so many reasons. When you think about residential school, how they were abused. And there's unfortunately, when things happen in life, if you don't stop it, there's cycles. Certainly with residential school survivors, they were abused. Physically, mentally, emotionally. And because those people did not deal with it, they were ashamed of what happened to them. When they came home later on, what did they turn to? Drugs and alcohol to deal with it. And when they're in that state, they're doing exactly what was done to them in a sense. So that cycle is happening.
Una inu singa sukak tau laga simuman. Unuk tuare utakamangitam. Kachin na kuru itaikwa atud laga dautu inu sa kad laga dautu nuna richo sila tane perun ni kuin ya taiko utakamay natu kisiani ayon naksi ulume ukko jutisang igasiun igasi nga kajutisang akichi tuang la sulu igama kuluk ikajutisang tamakulunga sakati yung nangati. Sapilatud timing at winner to man, take out time.
We'll never forget the past because it's part of who we are. But we need to look at where are we today? Where do we want to be?
We're not going to go back to our old way of life, but what we want to do is ensure that our identity remains as Inuit. Proud to be Inuit.
More and more young people, the young generation, loses the touch with the land and the knowledge of the land. I'm wondering if these young people, the young children of the Inuit, will be able to know what the old people are knowing now in 10 or 15 years from now. It's going to be a very, very interesting chemistry to see if the older generation is teaching the young generation to survive like they did before, and if the young generation accepts this knowledge and continues to survive by it.
One clear sign that something is disappearing is when it becomes an exhibit in a museum. More and more Inuit come here with their children to see things that they experienced while growing up in their communities.
In this environment, I think that eventually, if you don't know how to survive off the land, and when you go into an expedition, they will suffer in the future. Because there's no way you can compare this to a place like Los Angeles or Seattle or San Francisco. This is a very special place that you need to know to survive.